This week on Rock for Him, we are joined by the guys from Transcendent. We talk to them about how they came to be on Resurrection Records, and we get to meet their new lead singer, Anthony. We discuss their previous record and what comes next. We hope you enjoy what you hear. This is part one of a two-part episode. All right. Well, hello and welcome into the Rock for Him podcast. I am your host, Sanshoes, and I want to apologize to everyone for the late start. As you can tell, we're missing a couple of guys here. My co-host, Jeremy Brown, was supposed to be back tonight, but unfortunately, he had to stay. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. He was asked to stay late at work tonight, so he could not be on tonight. And our producer, our number two guy, Riker Levine, he unfortunately had a medical issue. Nothing too serious, but he had to go see the doctor and have his eye looked at. So he won't be on tonight either. But all that being said, here are the men of the hour, our guests, the guys from Transcendent. Guys, I am so excited to have you on. We have David, Travis, and Mark. Guys, how's it going today?
Fantastic.
Hey, doing good.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you having us on.
Yeah.
Well, I am so thankful that you guys came on today. Like, we have been playing your music for a while now. We originally got a song from you guys. Man, I want to say it was a couple years ago. Let me look to see what it is. It was we've been playing it for quite a while. It was Under the Bloodshed. That is a fantastic song. Like it came out of nowhere. I threw it on the top 15 as soon as we got it, and people were loving it. So
Awesome.
I was so thankful when you guys sent us your new CD and was like, "Oh, just check it out and let us know what you think." Like, I'm like an 80s metal guy, so this was like straight in my wheelhouse. I dug it.
Right on, right on.
Awesome.
So thank you guys for it. So enough of me talking. Let's hear a little bit about you guys.
Cool. Well, my name's David. I'm one of the founders of Transcendent. I've been playing music a lot of years here in North Carolina. I've been blessed to continue to play music with these guys, these gentlemen. There's Anthony. He's not on right now. I think he's trying to get on, but we're having some technical difficulties. But
Oh, he's on.
so we're forging ahead. This started out as a studio project, and now we're a live band getting ready to play live shows and record some more singles. So this year is really opening up. God's really opened the door for us this year, and we're just so thankful to be here tonight with you guys.
100%.
Yeah,
Hey, Anthony.
Well, welcome to the
What's
show,
going
Anthony.
on?
We appreciate you being able to join us tonight.
I appreciate it. Had a little trouble getting on, but that was my fault.
Hey, you're on. That's all that matters, right?
True.
So, how many releases do you guys have out right now?
Just the album that was released on Rocks Records back in July 2024.
Okay.
But we're working on we're going to record a full up single with this lineup right now, and we're shooting for sometime later this spring.
Awesome. How did you guys get hooked up with Aaron and Resurrection Records?
Well, yeah, that's a great question, and it's so amazing how God worked in that situation, and just watching Facebook and watching the trajectory of Resurrection Records, and how the artists seemed so ingrained with what each other was doing, like a just a family atmosphere, and I thought to myself, man, that's where we need to be, that's what we really need, because that's really what we are, we're really tight knit. And I started talking to Aaron, and things just worked out, and we were blessed to become part of the label. And it was immediate that, we were just welcomed in like part of the tribe, and we've just felt right at home from the moment we started out with them. It's just wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we absolutely love Aaron and actually everyone on Resurrection Records. I mean, we have kind of a running joke that he like stalks our top 15 because you guys sent us your latest CD and we were playing Free Your Soul, and I think it was on there 2 weeks, and all of a sudden got the announcement that you guys signed. I'm like, Aaron, I know you're stalking our top 15 list. So, and we have this joke that we call him Captain America because it's like he is assembling the Avengers. Seeing all these bands that he's putting together, it's like he's got probably, and I don't want to throw any shade at any other record label, but he has probably got the greatest group of bands and musicians on his label right now.
Amen.
I agree.
I
Yep.
agree.
Hmm. So one huge thing that we do on the show, and it's a very important part of our ministry, is we want to know your guys' testimonies. Like, how did you come to know Christ? If you could just share briefly how you came to know Christ, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah. Travis, you go ahead first, buddy.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so when I was a very small child, 4 or 5 years old, I used to go to church with my grandmother every Sunday, and so it's been kind of instilled in me, from a very young age, and I just continued with it. I mean, of course, when I got my teenage years, I kind of strayed here and there, but God's always been with me, and so has Jesus, and I've just never let him go. I don't see any other way to live your life because, there's only going to be one thing at the end when you're gone. And, well, two things, I guess. One, heaven and hell, and certainly don't want to go to the bad place. But, yeah, so I've just kind of always been into Christianity and everything ever since I was about 4.
Mm. That's awesome.
Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah, my story's similar to Travis's. I was raised in church, and I'll never forget it. Right about when I was 12 years old, the Holy Spirit was dealing with me, and I'd sweat it out through a service. I'm like, made it through that one, and then one Sunday it was just made for me, and it was just like, he lifted me off the pew, and that was it. I was saved, and ever since then, like I said, like Travis, we stray here and there and through different times. And I remember, I was in the army and fought in Iraq in 2003, and having God's presence there, and that was amazing to know that He had my back as well as other people's, and it was just continue to draw me and draw me. And I've just been so blessed to be able to not just to play, but just to be loved, and I want other people to experience that, and to know what blessing every day that can be in their lives.
So how about you, lead singer of AC/DC? I mean, Mark.
Hey, this is Mark. My story's similar too. As a very young child, even before kindergarten, I can remember I was in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday nights, and I really enjoyed it. I got something out of it at that young of an age, but I was beating on pots and pans in my bedroom at that age, just daydreaming to play for the Lord in front of lots of people for the Lord. And that's how I was as a child, and that's how it all started with the drums. And of course, as I got into teenage years, I went a different route slowly, survived it and got through it and had to learn. And
Hmm.
but my testimony is this is what I always wanted to do. I wanted to play for him, and I was able to get on a church praise team before I got with Transcendent for many years. And it's just we just want to give back. I'll speak for all of us. We want to give back the gift that he gave us, to be able to play and glorify his name with that.
Love it. Anthony?
Well, I guess for me, it was more recent. I was not raised in the church, but my mother was very spiritual, and she still is today. She's here now. And the birth of my kids is really what pushed me and the way the world was going, and music in general. And hearing these guys and the way they play, the message that their songs portray and push, it just felt comfortable.
Hmm.
So I figured make some music
That's
with
good to hear.
and help people see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And that's what I'm going to do. And if the Lord gave me a voice, I'm going to use it for that.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So why don't you all just tell us a little bit about what you each do in the band? I mean, obviously, Mark is the Brian Johnson impersonator and clearly the lead singer.
Yeah.
So no, what do you guys each do in the band?
Well, I'll go ahead and go first. I play bass.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it's David. I play guitar.
Guitar. Mark,
And
you're clearly the drummer.
Yep, the drummer.
Awesome. Anthony, you are the singer.
In theory, yes.
In theory.
In
theory. So you guys might notice that I'm looking over to the side here. I have our Facebook chat up, and we have a few people that are on that I want to say hi to you. Ryan Donald from Broken Bottle. He says, "Hey guys, just a heads up. Broken Bottle is happening in 2025. He puts on a fantastic concert down there in Ohio, so I think that might be a hey guys, he might be interested."
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
that sounds good.
That's awesome.
And
thank
Jeff
you.
Gray is on, and he says, "Yo, guys." So Jeff,
What up?
Yo.
My co-host Riker is actually on right now, and he says, "Sorry guys, missing being on with you guys." So Riker, we're praying for you, brother.
Get better, brother.
So tell us a little bit about. I mean, you told us about getting on with Resurrection Records.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working on a new CD. You said could be coming out in springtime. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we we're going to be writing some new music, and I think we've decided we're just going to release some singles as we go forward. For right now, we don't have an album project per se. I think that we would probably like to do an EP and have that happen maybe later this year if that works out. But definitely we're gonna do one at a time. And this is the dynamic that we haven't even really got into, because now we have a different voice for Transcendent, and we don't even know what that's going to be. We know it's going to be really good. And we're really excited to see what comes out of that, and Anthony is just an absolute powerhouse and just amazing vocals, and Lord has richly blessed him, and we can't wait to let people hear that, and I think this, the talents that Travis and Mark have, and all this coming together is just going to open a new chapter for us, and we're real thankful for that opportunity. So you're definitely gonna see some new music coming out. Hopefully after April. We're really working hard to make that happen.
And how involved is Aaron in Resurrection Records and what you guys do in the release?
Oh yeah, he's very involved. And we talked about that early on. And we were gonna, promote with the album that we had. It's a little weird because the vocalist that worked on that project, he's not associated with a group or anything like that. So, we want to be to do the right thing with that. But we also, wanted to get something new and fresh coming because that's what's really going to define our band
Mhm.
with Anthony's voice and what he brings to the table. And because that's really what, when you come to a Transcendent show, that's what you're going to hear.
Yeah.
That's what we want to relay that to everyone, that, maybe the album, yeah, that was kind of like a little teaser. That's the way I think of it. And me and Aaron talked about that, and we decided, hey, we'll just do some singles and move forward. And if we want to record an album, we'll do that at some point. But we're really looking forward to just dropping this first single. We're really excited about it.
Mm. I can't, I mean, if it's even half as good as what your album was that you just released like last year, oh, and then if you're saying Anthony's gonna blow that out of the water, guys, like I am
Yeah.
so excited. I told you I'm like an 80s metal like freak, and you guys just scratch that itch. Like
Awesome.
you guys hit that like
You're, you're
perfectly.
gonna love Anthony. You're
Yeah.
gonna love him.
So
Yeah.
enough about my inspirations. What inspires you guys? Like, what is it that if you're gonna sit down and just listen to music, what do you throw on? What has inspired you to become what you are?
Wow. Go for it, Travis.
Yeah. So we were on another podcast a few months ago, and we kind of had this discussion about favorite bands and things like that. And
Mhm.
I was very fortunate from a young age that my dad, he passed away at the end of 2023. But for the longest time when I was growing up, he had this huge collection of 8 tracks and records, and he listened to everything from Willie Nelson to Foghat, Leonard Skinner, old blues stuff like Albert King and Freddie King, and I mean, you just name it. So from a very young age, I really kind of started, dipping my toes into all kinds of genres. And as I continued to grow and got into my teenage years, I started leaning more towards, rock stuff, Quiet Riot, Rat, Motley Crue, all these different bands. And but as I kind of went past that a little bit, I started getting into a lot of other things like Elton John and Duran Duran. Um, so I'm really wide open. I tend to learn a lot of songs that are not metal or hard rock. If I just want
Yeah.
to play around on the bass and just learn something, a lot of times I'll do, Hootie and the Blowfish or, the Pointer Sisters. I mean, it's wide open with me. I don't discriminate against music. I love it all. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Mhm.
So David, be honest, have you ever walked by him and he's playing like some Taylor Swift on his bass or anything?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've always wondered about that. You know, I always wonder about that.
So what about you other guys? What inspires you guys? Anthony.
Well, I basically grew up on Motown, of all things.
Yes.
Shaka Khan, Rags to Rufus, Smokey Robinson. The BT Express was one of my big bands. And it was an uncle dragging me into his room to show me a Deep Purple album. And the song was called Child in Time. And I heard that guy sing, and my eyes got real big. Like, I didn't even know what that was. I said, that is incredible. And it just escalated from there. Of course, being the age I am, big 80s guy, I liked all the big 80s bands. And the big one for me that was obviously Striper. They kind of, again, it's a combination. You can hear a lot of different influences in Michael Sweet's voice, and I heard his voice, and I said, "Well, hey, if he can do it, I can do it," type thing. And so, and it just, I listen to a lot of European stuff now. Obviously, I was a Sabotage guy, and Camelot. That's another band, but again, I pull a lot of influences from, like he was saying, the bands that you wouldn't necessarily think that I would listen to. I'm a big opera guy.
I love opera.
Yes. Yeah, I listen to it almost every day, at work. I put that on and it kind of gets me in the zone, and it's almost like superhuman stuff. So the way I see it, it was like if I was going to play basketball, because I'm a sports guy too. I said, I don't want to be, and I'm not, knocking anybody, but if I would ever was to play basketball, which I didn't because I'm, 5'8", but I didn't want to be Danny Ainge. I wanted to be Michael Jordan. So the stuff I have a tendency to listen to is something that's going to push me to strive and be better. John Arch from Fates Warning, he's another big influence. If no one's ever heard that guy sing, he is known as the melody master. He can turn anything into a melody. He's incredible. So if it's not something that's going to push me, whether it's, actual in range and or stylistically, I have a tendency not to listen to it because I get bored real quick, I guess. It's a blessing and a curse, but we could be here all night if I talked about every influence. There's 3,000 CDs sitting across from me that I can name, and every one of them has influenced me somehow.
Yep.
Awesome. What about you, David?
Oh man, I'm an '80s baby, and listening to Dio, Maiden, Doc and George Lynch was a huge influence. That got me through high school, and in 1993, I heard "Pull Me Under" by Dream Theater, and my whole life was turned upside down.
Yes.
That's why I discovered, John Petrucci, and the very intricate songwriting that the Dream Theater was doing, and they've been a huge influence on my playing and songwriting both. I studied classical guitar for a couple of years in the early '90s, and that really opened me up to more melodic playing. A very disciplined approach. Um, so I mean, I've been blessed to being around some really good players like Anthony that pushed you. That's a thing where if you're going to get better, you have to be pushed. And you can't really just stay in your comfort zone. You have to learn how to break through those walls. To get better. And I really think that God puts that in us like that because He wants us to be our best. And He wants us to get the most out of us that we can. We always put limits on ourselves. So we just kind of try to keep pushing forward. And I think that what you're going to hear musically from Transcendent will be that we're going to write music that pushes us, but we want to get to a place it's getting better every time we write something or play something. So I think that's really going to drive this band going forward.
I love that. Mark?
Well, I went through stages of different styles and bands I liked. And when I'm locked in one stage for a year, it'll be a group of bands that year. But as a child, I mean, I learned to play drums just by playing to the records as they skipped to the drum set and the radio, just spinning the dial on the radio. And that was Glenn Campbell, Rhinestone Cowboy back in those days.
Nice.
And then Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Elton John, that's just what was on the radio then. So I learned that. And then I said, well, what? And I started hearing this heavy rock, AC/DC, and I was very young. And it was just different. So it was easy, I thought. So I went from the mainstream stuff to that, thinking it was harder. And it wasn't really harder than I heard Zeppelin. And if anybody, I'll tell my age, the Penny Club, all the 8 tracks and cassettes you want for a penny a month or something like that. Well, Motor Brothers belong to that. So I'd go in that room and I'd practice and learn to anything they have, which was Ted Nugent. I mean, Boston back in the days. And then it progressed into the metal, Metallica popped up. Exodus, everybody, and I just went along with it. Whatever they had in the room year after year, I'd borrow. I'm going to say I borrowed. I'd borrow and play, and it was just a lot of different styles. And then I wanted to play all styles because I had all of it at my, right there in front of me. So, and I even mentioned Nat King Cole before on one of these things, because it was a beautiful voice. But I'm like with Travis, I'm wide open. Big variety of influence. U2, Maiden, Dio, Zeppelin. Yeah.
So one of the fun questions that we like to ask is, and I'm going to ask this of Anthony and Travis. I want you guys to answer this. If someone were to pull up to your houses right now, pound on the door, say, grab your gear, you guys are going on tour with us, and you cannot say no, who would you want that to be?
I already know who Travis is going to say.
Oh, boy.
One of our buddies.
Who is it, Travis?
I mean, I would have to say Dream Theater. I mean,
I thought you said Stryper was your dream to open for.
Well, yeah, if we were on the Christian circuit, yeah, it would definitely be Stryper. But if it's any band, it would have to be Dream Theater. I love John Mayung, and the whole band is just fantastic. And now that Mike Portnoy's back with them, I mean, this new album that they just dropped, it just feels so right. Old school DT, and that would be my dream band to open up for.
That wasn't cool.
What about you, Anthony? Who would it be?
Wow. That is definitely a tough one to answer. There's so many. Well, I did have a Queensryche tribute, and Jeff Tate is a huge influence on me. And I had the opportunity, a friend of mine just got me a meet and greet last year, and I met Jeff Tate, and I'm still a huge fan of his voice. He just, the minute he opens his mouth, you know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's if he asked me, and I don't care if he just wanted me to do backups. I would do it. But yeah, I'd say right now, Jeff Tate, because Dream Theater, short story, I actually chickened out for an audition for them when I was in my teens. Yeah. Wow. Thank God I did, because I was no James LeBrie back then, I could tell you that. So a promoter approached me and said this band was looking for a singer, and I said, who is it? And she said Dream Theater, and I just purchased, this is before Pull Me Under and all that. I think Dream and Day Unite is the album before that. Is that it? Yeah. And I just got that and was blown away and was listening to it on tape, mind you, over and over and over again. And I said, no, there's no way I could sing with those guys. They were just so good. And I was kind of just starting out, so I just basically chickened out. So I think because of that, and their songs, I don't know how they do it. They're 27 minutes long, and you're never bored. How do you remember all those words?
Very true.
I mean, Ozzy's got a teleprompter for Crazy Train, and these guys are writing 27 minutes. I'm like, oh my Lord.
They do have some massive, massive songs.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you like what you saw today, hit the subscribe and like button down below, and don't forget to share it to all your friends. Also, leave us a comment down below. If you're gonna rock for him.